Well, she was the only one at our party that was not a relative.
And I didn't know that at the time.
No. So we
You're
were,
supposed to look at that green light.
yeah, we spent the whole afternoon having a party, and then
Welcome home party?
yeah, when it was all over, I offered to take her home. So that was
Across the street?
no from
From Kansas.
where Helen lived to. No, she lived on Kansas Street.
Oh.
That was a 1400 block, and she lived on a 600 block,
Of Madison.
about a mile away.
Okay.
And then did we meet again in Chicago, the Hoggy Church?
Well, you had to think a week off between that time and when you had to report back to base. And you were in Chicago most of the time, but once or twice, let's see, once you came back for a Sunday, young people's picnic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so then we were together that time. But we were just more or less having just barely been acquainted, been introduced or something like that. And then he went back to Chicago because that's where his parents lived. And I didn't see him anymore, but I had this feeling. I went back home to the parsonage and I walked back and forth in the living room. It was a feeling I'd never had before. As with somebody I would really like to know better. I don't know about him, but then later, while he was still there, our church was aware of a intermission meeting or something that was being held up at the Hoggy Church in Chicago on a certain Sunday night, and he was still there. So I went along for that occasion, and I sat through the service, and I continually expected to see him, but he wasn't in the church service, and I was such a letdown. He'd come all this way. But then we went downstairs for lunch, and he was standing there at the bottom of the stairs, and I was coming. My! You're standing there in his beautiful uniform, and I was ready to pass out. But then on the way home, we were 6 people in the car.
Oh, no.
And I had kind of been hoping that maybe I could sit by him on the way home, but they decided the men would sit in the back and the ladies would sit. No, the men would sit in the front and the ladies would sit in the back.
It was a dumb arrangement.
Oh, well.
I would say that's the way that went, huh?